they wanted it just to sound like a hillbilly band, basically. And we're going to play it to you now, and then we'll show you how we did that. It was pretty straightforward. What I quite enjoy is that often, you know, there's lots of Hollywood behind these films, and there's people in corridors in the studios talking large numbers on mobile phones, and we just turn up and we play as best we can, and we just do what we do, really. And it's not that sophisticated, but they seem to like it. And they definitely didn't want sophisticated on this, as you'll hear.
So here's a song for it, from it.
About a handsome little fox, let me sing you folks a yarn. Hey, diddle-dee-daddle-da-double-do-doodle-dum. Was a splendid little fella full of wit and grace and charm. Say, zippy-zee-zap-zah-yappy-yo-doodle-dum. Well, like any little critter needing middle store in Midlands, well, he stole and he cheated and he lied just to survive. With a doodle-dum, diddle-da-dum-diddle-doodle-dum. And now these crazy jackets had a hero on the run, shot the tail off the cuss with a box shooting gun. By the time school clocks was as clever as a whip, as quick as a rope, and I was half a rack of tail. Now those two farmers sick, where there's a hope was once a hill, singing diddle-dee-da-da-da-da-da-dum. And as far as I can reckon, they were sitting up there still, singing zippy-zee-zappy-zah-yappy-yo.
Singing pretty. Just making it up as I went along, really.
That's just weeks.
There it is. Now we'll talk about that. You didn't hear it on there, but we'll just talk a little bit. There's a snare drum motif that comes all the time in this film, and I'd just like to say that the sort of snare drum playing that I am trying to emulate when I'm playing on films like Pirates of the Caribbean and things like that, done with snare drum and all sorts of things. I really like the snare drum playing on some of those 50s and 60s British films, like Where Eagles Dare and Bridge Over the River Kwai. And that's the sound that I'm trying to get. Gary Cattell is the finest snare drum player I've ever heard. And I think Ralph agrees with that. And it's not the technical aspect, although that's fantastic. It's the sheer joy that he can bring out of the snare drum. It's absolutely incredible, the sheer joy. And it's like a laser when he plays. Everybody's just looking at it, because it's just the vibe that comes out of the drum is incredible. But he talks about the people that played on those films, and they had done national service and been in the army. And so there was still a beat to their playing. There was this pulse, like that you could march to in their playing. And that's what I miss now in some of the players now that I hear playing orchestral snare drum. I don't hear that pulse anymore. So I just like to make that point. Snare drum part for this, got here, I think. Part of the click.
Yeah, I think we'll go on this.
We'd have played this from very quietly to very loud, and again we're just trying to get that rhythmic shape through it. It's not a flat thing going da 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 da. It's very straightforward, but we need to play together. Again, there have been 4 snare drums playing that. You have to decide what sort of sound you want again, and Gary Cattell, who kind of is in charge when we do snare drum things. He plays a roll. He doesn't like that zzz roll like that. He likes to be able to hear the roll play. So you can actually hear the spirit of the roll, like a circus drummer doing a roll, we always say. And that's what we're looking for. Also, we don't play in that open, we play in a very closed way. So there's no point in me coming and playing like that, because that's not going to work as a team again. So I will follow Gary, because he's the expert in that.
He's head of snare drum department.
Yes, yeah.
It's funny how the pecking order works, but I mean, when you hear Gary play, it's just, it really is quite something. It's astounding. It's magical, and it's just no one's as good as him. We try, but no way.
I think I've told this before, but Ralph was with me, and Gary just had to play. I can't remember what he played, but it was just a little cymbal crash. He just had to do a cymbal crash, and he did it, and we went, oh, so that's how it's meant to sound. Because he just made this one cymbal crash. It was just, you know, it was amazing. The hairs started lying down on the back of my neck.
Boom.
Right.
Should we do this?
Yeah. So when we did this, Ralph would have played really such an unobtrusive rhythm on drums that he's just supporting you. He's just there to support basically things. So he's just playing something that's basically meant to sound like the sound of a drummer. Basically, he's not trying to be Ralph Salmins. He's just trying to make the sound of a drummer. And he'll just play.
Yeah.
One. Been there when Ralph did that. I think we all did this in separation, so nobody saw each other for this part of it. But Ralph would have put that down, and then I turn up with my bits and bobs. So when he's playing that, I've got this bag of all sorts of a few bags like this, and basically I'm just dealing with sound, so what sort of sound is needed. So he could be playing that, and maybe I'll try something like this. We'll start with a tambourine, really simple. 1, 2, just play with that.
Oh, we'll do it without actually. We'll do it that because actually slightly struggling to hear the click. I don't want to play untightly for you. Oh, they were all over the place. But you do have to make sure that you can hear it, otherwise you're in trouble. We'll just play. Here we go. 2, 3, 4.
Try the tambourine that way. No, not enough. Well, let's try 2 tambourines. Too busy? Let's halve that. So I'm tambourine 1. 1, 2, 1. Well, still too busy. Keep going. Still doing so much play that. No, we don't like tambourine. Let's try something metal. So metal, we might start with a very high shaker that won't get in the way of any speech or any voices. So this is quite high, so you can hear 1. No, we don't like that. It sounds too metallic. Oh, maybe a triangle. So triangle. We might still say no, we don't like that. So I've been through quite a few things. Well, let's try this. So you see, with all these instruments, I can just play very simple rhythms on most of them. If it gets complicated, get someone else. But if you want just a simple little groove, I can do that.